Fhs Season Tickets.
Welcome back to another episode of Fhs Season Tickets. I'm Nick.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Christian.
And the first thing we're going to talk about, Fairview Sports and the wrestling team went 2-2 at the Findlay Duel. Nick, what happened to the girls' basketball team over the weekend?
The girls' basketball team unfortunately lost to Firelands. Just not the start that you want, really. I mean, they beat Max Hayes. That's almost a gimme. So we're hoping that they pick it up.
This Friday, Fairview basketball, the boys are going to be playing Lutheran West at Fairview, so that's that.
Need to be seeing all you guys at the game.
Yeah.
Be going crazy in the student section.
Oh, yeah.
And now we'll jump in. First topic of the day, talking about the college football playoff rankings. The big topic in sports over the weekend. The college football playoff rankings decided to take number 1 Alabama, 2 Clemson, 3 Ohio State, and 4 Washington. What are your guys' first thoughts of the rankings?
I think people should have, if you were mad, predicted this outcome. I think that it's a fair outcome. If you look at it, Penn State had a lopsided loss.
Pennsylvania probably had a lot of lopsided losses playing in the
Penn.
Ivy League.
No, Penn State had a lopsided loss to University of Michigan and a loss to Pitt. Ohio State having a tight loss against Penn State whenever you were up already. So I think that was where it came into play, where conference games really don't matter, especially when they actually beat the conference title game in most people's opinion, which was Michigan-Ohio State. So Ohio State won there. Clemson, they're going 11-1, winning the ACC. You have no argument there. Washington handily taking care of Colorado in the Pac-12, win your conference championship, and obviously Alabama sitting undefeated. I really don't see there's a problem with these 4 teams making it. I don't think there's a problem there. But I do think, looking forward, you want to see those 16 playoffs, possibly even an 18 playoff in the future.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
What?
I'm not shocked.
Yeah, definitely not shocked.
I'm not surprised about the results, but it almost the 14 playoff has almost added it's almost added an incentive for teams not to schedule hard out of conference, because imagine if Penn State just took Pitt off their schedule and they played like the University of Pennsylvania.
Can't really take Penn State off schedule though, because they're in-state school.
Yeah, but they actually
Those
haven't
are
played
rivalries.
recently. This was the first time they played in a couple years, so it's not like it was always a yearly game. Penn State still beat Temple out of conference, which was a top 25 win. And then they're putting Washington in, a team that played Rutgers, who didn't win a game in the Big Ten, didn't come close to winning a game in the Big Ten, except for one. They played Portland State and they played Idaho. You're really rewarding Washington for only really playing their Pac-12 conference slate, which wasn't as difficult as it was probably expected at the start of the year.
Yeah, I think there could be an argument
Oregon
made
wasn't
for
as good
Penn State
over Washington.
I
really don't
think that's
see,
the only argument that you could see.
I really don't see a way Ohio State isn't in the playoff. Like, they blew out the clear Big 12 champion Oklahoma at Oklahoma, so there's no way any Big 12 team would be getting in over them. And also Ohio State, their only loss off a blocked field goal at Penn State. They did win a hard-fought game against Michigan with some questionable officiating, but they still did win the game at the end of the day. But yeah, kind of have an issue with Washington. The committee seemed really lazy this year. Like, they always kept ranking teams by the amount of losses. It's like, you guys really aren't doing anything so special. They make it sound like the committee is this like great thing where like any average AP writer could come to the conclusion that a team with 1 loss in a Power 5 conference is automatically better than a 2-loss team.
It would be
which
interesting.
Isn't always the case.
It would be interesting to see if USC could have gotten to that game against Washington and see the havoc that could have ensued if you have a 3-loss team right there as the Pac-12 champion.
I totally think they would have taken Penn State in over USC, and I think that's probably right, even though I love USC. I think they're going to beat Penn State in the Rose Bowl, but that doesn't mean that they would be more deserving. And that's what the committee has to figure out what they want, because they've been taking the most deserving teams, not the best teams. You can make an argument that...
Again, you play the people on your schedule, so you don't get the chance to maybe show
like
every
Ohio
facet
State
of your
last
game.
year. I think
Exactly.
it was pretty clear that Ohio State was a better
best team in the
football
country,
team
yeah.
than Michigan State. Alabama and Clemson were really good too. Ohio State, I'm
think
not
Ohio
trying
State-
to diminish.
I mean, look at that team. Look at the people
Oh,
in the
they
NFL
were
now.
so good.
You got Michael Thomas on that team. You got Ezekiel
Joey
Elliott.
Bosa.
You got all three of those quarterbacks. You got Braxton Miller. You got the most talented team in the country there. I don't think it's a debate. But
And
they
last
obviously didn't play up to their potential at all, so they shouldn't be there. So again, maybe that's something for the committee to think about, that you had that Ohio State. Maybe that's a perfect example of you got to play good that year. You really can't look at your talent on your roster too much.
Yeah, Ohio State, just like this year, had one loss, didn't even win their division. But this time, since there was there were more one-loss teams, so there were more playoff possibilities. They took Michigan State over Ohio State, and then we all know what happened when Michigan State got into the playoffs. They got exposed by an Alabama team, losing like 31-0. So maybe that was kind of on the committee's mind this year, not wanting to put in a team like Penn State, which has a really solid resume, but we all know that the talent on the field for Penn State isn't quite up to the standards that you have in Ohio State, Clemson, or Alabama right now.
Okay, I think we can move on now to college basketball. Getting into that season where we're having all these sports represented at the same time. College basketball last Saturday really felt like we were in March instead of early December, and it was this game against Kentucky, UCLA at Kentucky. UCLA pulling through, winning 97-92, highest scoring opponent in the John Calipari era, especially at Rupp Arena where they haven't lost since 2014. So it was a big win for UCLA, big atmosphere, a lot of things on the line. Again, it wasn't quite March, but it really sets the tone for the rest of the year. Mike, I know you're a UCLA fan. What do you want to say about the game? What was your analysis?
Okay, before we get into this, I'm not a huge UCLA fan. I just really like Kyle Anderson. I think this jersey is pretty sick. So, I'm still a Vanderbilt basketball fan, okay? Even though we lost to Minnesota, I'm still supporting the squad. But yeah, hey, I know we suck, okay? I'm not gonna argue with you on that. We lost to Minnesota. It's over with, okay? The year's probably done with, but that's okay. Going back to the original topic, which was UCLA versus Kentucky, I was really impressed with the role players on UCLA. TJ Leaf had a great game, almost dominating the Kentucky bigs down low.
Dude,
and
who's the other guy? Who's the other big?
Welsh.
Two big mid-range shots, but I'll let you get into that.
Yeah, Welsh was really solid too, and also Hamilton and Alford hit some big shots for UCLA. Lonzo Ball not even playing his best game at all. Probably got outplayed by De'Aaron Fox, which was something that if you said UCLA won the game, I would have said that Lonzo Ball probably dominated his matchup, but he didn't do that. So the fact that UCLA can win without Ball playing his best game is really scary for the rest of the country. You could argue that UCLA is almost must-see TV at this point. They have the third highest offensive efficiency in the country right now. Play really fast. They're a really fun team to watch. Christian, what were your thoughts on the UCLA-Kentucky game?
Kentucky was playing. They were playing good at first, and then UCLA, they finished the first half strong, and then Kentucky just came out the second half just.
Really
I don't know
flat.
what happened. Yeah, they just had no juice, no nothing. And UCLA really took advantage of it.
Yeah, I definitely think that UCLA is definitely one of the better offensive teams in the country, like a top 10 offensive team. But I don't think that you can necessarily say if these two teams met in March, met in the tournament, that it would be a UCLA win. I think that it would be, if we did see that matchup, I still like Kentucky's advantages over that game. I can see the players that Kentucky has, especially when you're starting that backcourt with Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. They play off each other really well, and they already have established talents on their own. Malik Monk, a three-point shooter, a deadly sniper from the outside, who can also has a 44-inch vertical, who can get above the rim, who can slam it. That's insane in my opinion. And then you have De'Aaron Fox, who is one of the better point guards since John Wall. Yeah, one of the better point guards since John Wall, similar to John Wall. That backcourt's nuts. And then you have the front court, which is made up of primarily forwards. I think people are starting to realize that more. Maybe a weakness that Kentucky has. A lot of power forwards, a lot of people playing the same position. Really can't get out on the floor enough, like Wenyen Gabriel, who doesn't get out a lot. But I definitely think that this Kentucky team it's not really a knock on Kentucky that they lost this game. It was a really well-fought game. And just a few things, like Christian mentioned, coming out in the second half, they have to play fast all the time to really beat teams because their half-court offense leaves a little bit left to desired. But I think this was a great game in college basketball. I think we expect a lot of this going down the line in March. I think these type of games really, another thing to point out, Coach Calipari is really liking these type of games Coach K is really liking these type of games because Duke is kind of flying under the radar now that you have these UCLA teams, these flashy teams, Kentucky looking good with all their talent. I think when Duke gets back, they're still the number one team in the country, in my opinion, and we're going to see that coming down in February, March.
I've got two things. The first one, does Gabriel really ever do something? Like, I watched the Kentucky-Michigan State game, and I'd never noticed him on the floor.
He's really good defensively.
This game, so he's like another.
And he can't really get out
Briscoe.
there with Bam, and they like to run those guard sets where it's Briscoe, De'Aaron Fox, and Monk, and then you have to have Bam out there, and then with Bam out there, you can't really run Wenyen because you have almost 3 non-shooters with Briscoe, Gabriel, Bam,
Briscoe's
and
a goon.
Yeah. So it's trouble getting Wenyen out there. Even Sasha Kalea-Jones you have on the bench.
Who?
Sasha Kalea-Jones.
Just another scrub?
He's
5-star?
High 4-star.
5-star.
High 4-star. And so, yeah, they have a logjam at the power forward position. I think Isaac Humphries is getting way too many minutes. He's a scrub. Can we just say
beast.
He should be a janitor wiping the floor, running out there.
Whoa.
He should.
Him and Derek Willis are the greatest basketball players in Kentucky history.
I just cannot see them ever doing anything when those two on the
Isaac
floor.
Humphries and Derek
I mean,
Willis, Anthony Towns,
Willis is
and Anthony
utilized
Davis.
a little bit, but Humphries is just too dumb, too slow, can't
call
do
him
anything.
too dumb?
He's too dumb. He's a joke, really. Like it's awful. He slows down their tempo.
God.
He can't run. He can't do anything. He's just like a fat, he's just a tumor on their team, really, a cancer.
So Isaac Humphries, you want to come on the show?
I wouldn't doubt it.
But the second thing that I was going to say, that game was played at a really fast pace. Like, you saw the Virginia and West Virginia game. That game, the total was in, like, the 120s or 110s. This game almost in 200s. That's what college basketball needs. Christian, what were you going to say?
Can't really remember, but a big thing that, like, changed this game around for UCLA is they ball stopped turning the ball over, and Kentucky really thrives off turnovers and all that. And when Kentucky can't force turnovers, they start just like losing their identity.
Yeah. So college basketball, really great weekend for that. Now I think we can start getting into the professional sports. Let's start with the NFL. Really great week of the NFL again. It's been picking up its tempo. It's been picking up its offenses. Really fun to watch now that we know the true Super Bowl contenders, and one of those fake contenders. I never thought it was a contender, but Mike here thought that only 6 teams could beat them. The Carolina Panthers, losing 40-7 in Sunday Night Football, big game. Mike, can we talk about it? What went wrong for your Carolina Panthers?
Well, first off, Ron Rivera suspended Cam Newton
for a
whole one play. I mean, now that is setting the tone from the start. That was a bad setting the tone from the start. So that was a problem initially that the Panthers did have. And then also their defense can't stop anyone. Like, that's another big problem that the Panthers have. Not really stopping anyone like they were doing all of last year. So yeah, I was wrong about the Panthers, but going in Seattle,
can we get your list now? How many teams?
Maybe 20.
20 teams can beat them?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. That's where we're finally on the same page. I was there 2 weeks ago, but we're finally there. There.
Yeah. Carolina's between the 18th and 22nd best team in the NFL.
We got nothing to talk about anymore for that on that point.
Okay, fine. I'll admit I was wrong. I still think they should have beaten Oakland. I'm still mad about them missing an extra point and 2 2-point conversions. But another 2-point conversion. I swear, the teams that I pick.
We'll talk about that
always
later. We got to finish off this Seattle Carolina. What did you think about? Do you think this had to show more with Seattle playing amazing, maybe the top of the NFC? Or was this more just Carolina falling flat on their face?
I would I would say the Seahawks played they played way better than the Panthers, and the Panthers they don't have Luke Kuechly, who's
they're definitely depleted.
He's like the center of their defense, but especially when you don't have Josh Norman and you guys can't defend anyone in the pass.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out if this Seahawks team is better than the Cowboys. I'm trending towards them being a little bit better than the Cowboys with the tight games that the Cowboys have been playing.
I disagree because I feel like
Seattle
might be a better football team, but I'm thinking Cowboys ahead of Seattle.
I'm thinking Cowboys can beat Cowboys would be better against any other NFL team but the Seahawks. The Seahawks are their worst matchup. They can take in the NFL. They will not be able to attack that offensive line for the Seahawks like they need to. That's really one of the only weaknesses Seattle has is their offensive line, and that's almost null and void with this weak pass rush that I've seen every single week I've watched the Cowboys. Even though they've been dominating teams, that's mainly to do with their time of possession, and I think Seattle really takes that factor away.
See, I totally disagree with you. I think that Dallas, the biggest thing Seattle does to a team is they take away the vertical passing game with guys like Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, who just went down, and Cam
he's
Chancellor.
out for the season.
Yeah, he's probably out for the season. Did they make it official?
Yeah, he's fractured tibia, debating retirement.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing. We'll get into that after this. But the thing Seattle does best is limit your vertical passing game, and I think that Dallas doesn't really do that anyway. They don't go deep very often, so the thing that Seattle does best won't really be a factor in this game, and Dallas will just have to run the ball. I think their offensive line would control that game. So I think that Seattle matches up to more teams because most of the good teams in the NFL, Oakland and New England, and then teams like Kansas City, a lot of them throw the ball. Kansas City doesn't throw the ball as well, but they're another really team with a really good record. You got like Green Bay, and just most of the better teams in the NFL pass the ball vertically, and that's what Seattle does best. So,
with Bennett coming back and Cliff Averill, I think is still on that team. You got those big boys on the defensive line to go up against the Cowboys. Another thing, so then they'll be able to take it. You have Wagner on that team.
Bobby Wagner would be the X factor in that game.
Yeah, you still have them. The thing with the thing why I think Cowboys can outmatch any other team other than the Seahawks is because those offensive linemen, like you said, control the line. They don't only control the defensive line; they go out to the second level. They take those linebackers out of the equation, and that's to do with Zach Martin and all them boys. Even Frederick to an extent.
Boy.
Yeah, even Frederick to an extent. They get out there. Tyron Smith sometimes. They get out to the second level, and I think that wouldn't work against Seattle, who's going to be clogging them up with Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett, and Wagner being able to shed those blocks. Prizzy, what do you think?
I think the Cowboys would overpower them.
You think that the offensive line would be a factor?
Just because, like, the Seahawks have been like so dominant for so years, doing the same thing basically over and over and over again, and NFL is basically like a copycat league. So like once one team had success against the Seahawks, they're gonna try and do the same thing that team did. Yeah,
that's true. Them making it that far might be the difference. So I think now we can go on. Or do you want to talk about Earl Thomas at all?
Yeah,
I really
we
have
can
no
talk
thoughts
about.
on it.
Do you think this is a concern for the NFL that one of their best players in like his 7th season in the league gets knee injury and now is considering retirement?
First off, it's a safety, so I don't think it'll have the impact maybe a quarterback would have on the league. But I also think that other players in the league are going to be taking note of this and maybe saving whatever they have left. Maybe if they have an injury like this, maybe start thinking more about their family if they already got the money like Earl Thomas has.
Sure.
And I think that they might consider this, especially if Earl Thomas retires. What do you think, Mike?
I think this is a really bad look on the NFL if Earl Thomas does retire. I'm not taking anything away from Earl Thomas. It's his decision. He can do whatever he wants, but I still think that if he does make this decision, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad decision for him, it would be a bad decision for the image of the National Football League, which I think could take an even bigger dip than
he's
it
doing
would hurt
great.
the Seahawks too.
Really yeah. He's doing great for himself. I mean, he's got the money. He can just get out of there.
Yeah, he's got the cheese. He's got a ring.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs too much more.
No, I think he's done great for himself.
Good.
But
yeah, he actually had to leave, go to the draft early because his parents lost their home, so like he had to pay
Yeah.
for his parents. So he made play enough money to give his parents back and
Exactly.
have a
So
ton
he's
for
fine for himself. But again, that NFL image is true. We're gonna start off with the Warriors Pacers. The Warriors absolutely destroying the Pacers. Klay Thompson going off for 60 points through 3 quarters. Absolutely insane game for him. Could have gone for more. Could have gone for Kobe's 81, I believe. But I guess the hindsight's 2020. Maybe you don't want to injure Klay there for going after that. But Mike, Christian, what do you think about that game?
Warriors are just clicking on
Yeah.
all cylinders. Yeah, I think the Warriors learned last year that records aren't everything. Is basically, and not today, it's basically you just got to win in the playoffs. That's basically everything, how you're going to earn your reputation and all that.
While it is true, that's no fun, man. Let Klay go out there. Let him take 10 more threes in the fourth quarter. Let him keep chucking it till he gets.
But he's not
till
going
the
to.
clock ends.
He's not going to get those looks without Steph and KD and Draymond Green being in the game. So you want to risk them getting hurt too? I
don't know. I would let Klay in.
Yeah.
I'd be like, if anyone takes a shot besides Klay Thompson, you better make it or you're coming out. And I would have loved to see him do it. I mean, obviously it's not as good for the Warriors, but the Warriors are supposed to be like a fun team. We shoot a lot of threes. We kick a lot of people in the nuts, so we're fun. Okay, the second part isn't that fun. Yeah, like they seem like a fun team in the NBA, and they were like the NFL. They were the no fun league right there, and they rested Klay, and I thought it was a boring move, and it's just another regular season game. Like, why would you play him in the fourth quarter if it was a close game with the risk of getting hurt? Because in the end, that game's not going to matter for the playoffs, so why would you ever play a player? The next thing we have to talk about the Warriors. Draymond Green, once again, his feet got a little happy, and he kicked, I believe it was Maurice Chris in the hand, and he had to run off the court.
We should start a GoFundMe for
Yeah,
every
isn't it-
single one of Draymond's victims. Let's make a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Who is it? Maurice Chris?
No, Marquise.
Marquise Chris. Let's
Yeah.
make a GoFundMe for Marquise Chris.
Marquise. Rest in peace.
But what are your thoughts about
Free him.
Draymond's comments? He's just like, my feet are in unnatural positions, and when James Harden goes up for Euro-step layups, his hands get in unnatural positions too. So
Completely
shouldn't
different
he
body
be
part.
getting-
It's awkward to move your feet high in the air as a
Yeah.
basketball player. As a basketball player, I myself can speak. You don't even know where your hands are going half the time.
Yeah, you
they're flailing
half the
everywhere.
yeah.
They're flailing everywhere. You don't even know, especially on a layup.
shooting.
Like, for a foot, you have to purposely raise that thing up as high
I'm
as
never
he is
gonna
as he
go
is
up for a
raising that
layup
up.
and just go.
Especially considering
Yeah.
how tall these guys are. Like, you know, their private parts are definitely high in the air.
Yeah.
He's aiming for them. These 7-footers, Steven Adams, that guy got targeted, I believe. But completely different issue with the hands.
Yeah. Hands are completely different than controlling your feet.
Yeah.
You can control your feet at all times, but your
Right.
hands, it's like,
Yeah, you
I've
don't
been
know.
in a practice and one of my close friends just blew by me and just completely punched me in the face by accident,
Right. It's
throwing his
completely
hands
accident.
back. So you really don't know, like, your
And
hands are
also-
just random at times.
It's been quiet on all fronts, but another person that has not been quiet is Russell Westbrook with his 6th triple-double in a
noise.
row.
Making noise.
I know Christian Peplin has him on
Fantasy.
your fantasy team. I bet that's great for you.
If he could just cut down the turnovers.
Yeah, cut down
much,
those negative
you know.
points. But 6 triple-doubles, all those have been wins. This is insane. Mike, what are you thinking about this game? Or do you think he could average triple-double, and what do you think about his game so far?
I mean, yeah, he could easily average triple-double, but I'm more impressed that he's led them to 6 straight wins than 6 triple-doubles. I mean, if you had told me before the year that Russell Westbrook had 6 straight triple-doubles, I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool for him. But if you had told me that they're 6-0 in those 6 games, I'd be like, wow, that's really
He's
impressive.
really a major
This
factor in
Oklahoma
those
City
games.
Thunder team isn't the most talented team
Right.
at all in the Western Conference or in the NBA, and him leading them to 6 straight wins is just showing not only he's putting up great stats, but it's also leading his team to wins. Christian, what are you going to say?
Yeah, I like, because in the past with KD, he would put up the triple double, but then they would still lose the game. But it's great that he's getting the triple double and he's winning. I just think they need to kind of, like, he can't do this throughout the whole year, because if he does, his usage rate's just too high. He's gonna end up getting hurt. He's not gonna be the same in the playoffs. I just think they gotta kind of tone him down, tone his minutes down a little bit, and force some other people to step up, like Victor Oladipo or.
Oladipo hit a poster though on Dwight Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I feel like Russell Westbrook needs to win a ring. He needs it for himself. Here's a couple of reasons why. If LeBron James had 6 straight triple-doubles, I don't know what would happen. Probably breaking
The
NBA.
world would end.
We would probably have talks of him being the number 1 player ever. Not saying Russell Westbrook is in that category. Not saying that he ever will be. But people are starting to get disillusioned with Russell Westbrook. I feel like it's going to trend more. If he doesn't win a championship, he's just going to be maybe even Oscar Robertson's a perfect example of him. It will be more of like a novelty type player. Like he gets those triple doubles, yeah, but it doesn't really affect the team. That's why I think he just really needs to win a championship or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then he could be considered one of the greats because it's really crazy what he's doing.
Yeah.
6 triple doubles as a point guard. Honestly, sometimes I even forget how great that is and how rare
It's only
and
happened
special
4
it is.
times
Mm-hmm.
in NBA
Yeah,
history.
but the championship is really what he needs to win to get that team or get his future legacy really to put him into one of those all-time greats. I can't see that happening on this team.
See him.
I don't think you could really compare him to anyone because he's kind of like his own player. Like
Yeah.
you could compare. You can't compare LeBron and MJ because they play completely opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You could compare him to like Magic Johnson or the Kobe to MJ, but you can't really
Yeah.
be like, wow, Russell Westbrook plays like no one because he plays his own style. He's got
he's like no one.
he's got his own freakish athleticism, his pull-up J, his tenacity.
Russell Westbrook's gonna be that guy that you tell your kids that was like crazy to
Yeah.
watch,
Yeah.
but like
No one remembers
wasn't a great
either.
team player.
Mhm.
Like he had a lot of flaws about him, but
Yeah.
boy was he fun to watch, and boy
Yeah.
did he do some crazy
Yeah.
things on the basketball court that no one else is really doing
Mhm.
right now.
So that's going to wrap up our NBA talk. You guys have anything to talk about really about the sports world so far?
Not really. I'm good.
Yeah, I think
Go Brownies this weekend.
yeah, let's get that. Let's
RG
let's avoid
three.
a lose
RG.
again.
Wait.
Let's
Whoa.
avoid a loss.
This completely just came up. How do you guys feel about Cam Newton getting benched? Do you think it's good or bad?
Oh, for the first play. I mean, if that's their team role, then you gotta wear a tie. But I don't think we would even be talking about it if that guy didn't throw an interception the first play that he got benched. So
I think we still would have, but it's not high school. It's not grade school.
Mhm.
Like, let's get over it. It's a tie. Like, I know the Panthers aren't doing.
well, he's already had
and Cam
he's
Newton-
already had issues with being out there, to being like maybe even a cancer to the team.
His
But
dress, his dress
so
apparel
if
decking
someone
wasn't
like
even bad.
Navarro Bowman or some stand-up guy like Ben Roethlisberger forgot to wear a tie one game, I don't think we'd be seeing this happening. But with Cam, you really want to. He's in
I don't
his
think he
young
forgot.
years too.
I don't.
Exactly, so it makes it even worse.
But I don't think it's an issue.
Well, that's something in the locker room
Yeah.
that just goes down.
I don't think it was an issue because his past games. I don't think he was wearing a tie at all for those.
Those are post-game press conferences.
Oh,
though.
okay.
So I think the pre-game and the
Well-
post-game, you had different
Yeah.
rules.
I don't think this is directly because of the tie. Because I think
Yeah, something's happening.
Ron Rivera should have just made a statement and just benched him the whole game, just to let him find his inner self. Because Cam's like, ever since he got that MVP last year, he hasn't been the same. He's been way too cocky. He thinks he's better than everyone else, and
Mm-hmm.
he just I don't know.
I feel like he almost thought that he was like above the rules. Which,
Yeah.
like, is a problem, but like, it's a dumb rule. So like, I see where Cam is going. I see where Ron Rivera is going.
A
with
rule's a
this.
rule, I think. At the end of the day, it's up to that locker room. And we'll see how this progresses further. I still think that Cam has lost his luster a little bit. I think last year was an anomaly. I don't think he'll ever get to those MVP-type heights. I mean, I do think he could get better because he does have all the talent in the world.
Mhm.
But I think that he really needs to get his act together, and this Carolina Panthers team as a whole needs to find themselves. I think that will do it for this episode of FHS Season Tickets. Thanks all for watching.
Adios.
Peace out.